our Sky News studios in Melbourne, live. The Bolt Report. Now, Andrew Bolt.
But first, are we getting just a little too accepting of allegations of Islamist extremism in Australia? Too used to it to bother discussing anymore how we imported such extremism and what must now be done to shut the door on more. You see, in just this past week, we have had 4 court matters involving 5 Muslims accused of terrorism-related offences. 5 in 1 week. And that's got to be an extraordinary figure. Yet it seems to have caused barely a ripple. Let me go through these cases. Today, a Bangladeshi student living in Melbourne refused to enter a formal plea in a magistrate's court where she was accused of terrorism and attempted murder. She's been charged with stabbing her landlord in the neck before allegedly telling police she did it on behalf of the Islamic State. And in court, she was in a niqab covering everything except her eyes, and she refused to stand for the magistrate. In Queensland yesterday, the second case, Ajim Kreuzi was jailed for 17 years for planning a suicide terrorist attack here so that he would go to heaven as a martyr. And the judge said there was no sign that he'd changed his thinking. Third, in Sydney, another trial is underway of 2 teenagers who have pleaded not guilty to preparing a terrorist act. They were just 16 when arrested at a Muslim prayer hall, allegedly in possession of 2 bayonets. And one of the boys had allegedly downloaded Islamic State material. And I should repeat, the boys do say they are innocent. And the fourth case is actually in Lebanon. An Australian man faces a possible death penalty over an alleged Islamic State plot to blow up a passenger jet from Sydney, an Etihad flight to Abu Dhabi with 400 people on board. Now, our Australian Federal Police have said this Australian-Lebanese man, Amir Kayat, had no idea he was carrying a bomb hidden in a meat grinder inside his hand luggage. 2 of his brothers, back in Sydney, will next year stand trial in New South Wales after being arrested and charged with planting this bomb in his hand luggage, allegedly under instruction from the Islamic State.
The charges that we are alleging relate to 2 specific events. The first related to an aborted attempt to place an IED on an Etihad flight out of Sydney on the 15th of July this year. The second plot relates to the building of what's called an improvised chemical dispersion device. We will allege that these individuals attempted to create an improvised chemical device that was designed to release the highly toxic hydrogen sulfide.
Now, police say this alleged bomb plan was aborted only when an Etihad check-in officer told Amir Kayat his hand luggage was overweight. You've got to unpack some of it. So, there are 4 legal proceedings in just this past week. And, of course, that trial next year of the 2 brothers. And true, we have also heard pleas of not guilty, apart from the Queensland case, so we must presume innocence until and unless the courts rule otherwise. All that aside, so many terrorism cases at once is extraordinary, and all of them involving people born in countries like Lebanon and Bangladesh, or involving the children of Muslim immigrants. And again, we must ask, who left the door open? Again, I have to point out that even if you do screen the parents who come in here, you cannot screen their children. Therefore, all the more reason that we take much more seriously the question of culture. Which cultures are most compatible with our own and leave us a bit safer? 5 Muslims in the courts in 1 week over 4 alleged terrorism offences? That's not mere coincidence, and we would be wrong to consider that normal. Shrug your shoulders. Just the price of immigration.